friends, this is Aubrey from Crybaby Seminole Homestead, and today is Tool Tip Tuesday, and I wanted to talk about two different items. The first item are these aqua globes or watering bulbs from Dollar Tree, and these are available from time to time, and unlike what my son thinks they're used to just go around and play with them, they are actually meant to be filled up with water, and then you put them into your planters to water them when you're away or busy or whatever. And I wanted to talk to you about how they've been doing for me, how I see them working, and what some limitations I see for them. I have another tool I will be talking about afterwards. So I really like these bulbs. I bought them at first, just a few of them, to see how they work and kind of compare them to some other items that I have. And I have some glass ones as well. Now with the glass bulbs, it kind of makes me nervous because I have a younger child and I also have dogs, and because they jump around the garden, and I do worry about maybe them getting hurt or cut or something like that. The bulbs I have are very high quality, and I just have a few planters that have the bulbs, the glass ones, because they're very pricey. And along with that, I have had a few shatter. So you have to take them out, rinse them out, because the end here gets full of soil, which is actually acts like a little cork, so that all the water just doesn't pour into the pot. So whenever that happens, you have to rinse it out. Sometimes there might be a little piece of gravel or a small rock or something like that. So I have had them shatter. One time one shattered kind of in my hand. Luckily I didn't get cut. So I was taking the risk of buying these very cheap bulbs from Dollar Tree, and they do work very well. And I had purchased before off of eBay or something like that some that look like these, but they were really tiny, and so I use them for house plants, usually like for my little succulents, whatever, especially when I'm going to be away for a while. So I ran and grabbed two of the glass globes or aqua globes. They're called a few different things. The basic premise, I'm sure, is self-explanatory. You fill it up with water and then you put it into your planter. And because it plugs up with soil, it acts kind of like an Oya, in that it's going to just let a little bit of moisture out at a time. So they do work. Now, I don't think it should be your sole method of watering. I think you definitely need to water your plants, and these are like a backup, okay? And I do like the idea of self-watering containers better than using these, but these are very pretty. The two that I have here they're very heavy. I don't remember where I bought them from, and I just am using them as kind of a like Maracas. I'm using them as a comparison for the Dollar Tree variety, okay? So let me grab those. So I don't think I've seen that quality bulb for less than $10 even on sale. So you basically can get 8 or 9 of these from the Dollar Tree for the price of one of those. And I think these work just as well. I mean, obviously the glass has more of an aesthetic than these. Now, if you want them to look like little balloons, you can do multiple colors. If you want them to blend in with the green plants, you could just do all green. They kind of like more blend into the background and kind of disappear to your eye. Or if you have a favorite color, you know, do whatever you like. So they do work really well. However, again, it's not your only method of watering. Like if you're gonna be gone for a day or two, you know, putting this in I think is a good idea. On some of my very special plants, I might even do more than one on the same container. It is kind of a chore, though you do need to rinse them out. And the stuff, I'm going to be very clear with you guys, the soil will fall down into the bulb, so you kind of fill it with water a little bit, switch it around, and then drip it out. And then after you do that a couple of times, all the stuff is out. I think the plastic ones are actually a little bit easier to clean than the other ones that I have, because the other bulbs I have are wider on the bottom, which means more soil is going backwards, and then it's tighter for it to come out the other way. So I like the plastic ones just as well, if not even better. I mean, the other ones I think are prettier, but these work just as well. And I mean, like, if you have a very special plant and you're just like, everything goes to this plant, and you want to make sure, you know, like, you're going to leave your house to your plant. Hey, if people can leave their houses to their cats, why can't you leave it to your pothos? I don't know. So you could put multiple in the same container if you're really concerned about it. Of course, I wouldn't do that with something that likes to be dry. But if you have a plant that likes to be, you know, always moist soil, you could do more than one of these in the same container. The best way to fill them up, if you put this under the sink or the faucet or the hose and you try to fill it up, it will just take you forever. It's ridiculous. What I like to do anyway, I always fill up containers of water so that the chemicals can dissipate overnight, which is convenient, because then what I do is, when I'm going to fill these up, I put this, submerge it into the container and go blah 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 blah, let all the air bubbles out. So you kind of go like back and forth in the water so that all the air bubbles go out, and then pull it out of the water, put your thumb over it, and then you can just put it into the soil and then move your thumb out of the way, right? And I feel more confident and safer when I'm working with these, because I'm kind of always worried when I push the glass bulb into the soil. I often do put rocks in with my soil. I'm kind of worried I'm gonna have a sharp edge, and then I'm gonna cut myself when I'm pressing down with my thumb. So absolutely, I'm a fan of these, and next time I see them at the Dollar Tree, I'm gonna buy more. So I bought these when they were stocked up. I haven't seen them in a while. So when you see these at your store, buy them. Another thing is, when you buy them on eBay or some other place, check the dimensions of, like, you know, how many centimeters or inches it is circumference or length or whatever, because the ones I purchased on eBay, I thought I was getting something like this, and it ended up being little bitty, and it was super cute, and I put it into a little potted plant inside my house, and it's fine. But these are better. I want to go ahead and show you the other item I had purchased, I think from Ross. So sometimes you have to correct yourself. I'm always calling anything that cuts, I call snips or snippers or shears or something like that. But these are actually loppers, and I was lucky to find them at Ross. They were $6.99 for Martha Stewart brand, which I think is awesome. Apparently they have a 2-year warranty. I'm not sure if it's valid if you buy it from Ross. Not sure, but I'm gonna try them. I have broken many a lopper because a lot of the pruning I do is through, we get a lot of cherry suckers. We have a couple cherry trees on the property, and they shoot up little cherry trees all over the land. Now, some of them I actually want to keep because I want to try my hand at grafting and things like that, because it's like the fruit on those might not be that great, but I can graft in a better variety from Scion. Is it S-C-I-O-N? Scion wood. Anyway, so you can take a cutting from another plant, a small branch, cut it at a specific angle, and you can graft them on. And so I've done a lot of cloning, but I haven't done any grafting yet. So I thought I could practice on all of these suckers. So unfortunately, my husband was helping me, and he pulled up the main one I wanted to keep. It was already like 2 or 3 inches around the trunk, and I was thinking I could graft in some of the other varieties that I had purchased that are superior specimen, and unfortunately he cut it. But I'm going to find something else for that. Well, nothing gets wasted. But I'm going to go ahead and try these out. Another thing I like to do with the cuttings, so I save sticks and all that stuff. We have campfires, all that kind of good stuff. But I also save some wood, let it dry, and you can use it as like a bamboo stake, but as just a stick stake. You can use it for like those little tripod teepees to have, sweet peas growing up or whatever. You can also let them dry out and then try hugelkultur, which is basically buried wood material. And then when the plants are growing, it's breaking down and it's feeding the natural material back into it. So I like that a lot. One thing you should know, it's not very likely that you are going to accidentally propagate a plant. So I was in one of my plant forums and online, and somebody mentioned you can take cuttings of different plants, you cut them at an angle as long as they're about a pencil width around. Take an maybe 8-inch 10-inch cutting of something. You make sure that you plant it bottom side down, top side up, and you can scratch it so it'll get more roots. You can dip the cutting into rooting hormone. Some plants don't really need it, like willow doesn't need it. Fig trees don't really need it. They do better if they have it, but they don't need it. So there's certain things. Mulberries are pretty easy to propagate. I have needed to use rooting hormone for mulberries. But anyway, so you take those cuttings and you can stick them into the soil and you can grow a new plant from that. And so when I mentioned that into one of my groups, somebody was like, oh no, I just buried a bunch of green twigs and now I'm going to have all this invasive plant. Well, if it was kudzu vine or something, yeah, you're going to. If you're like in Florida or something, you're going to have an invasive problem there. But if it's something like a cherry tree branch, I really highly doubt that if you bury cherry tree branches that are green, that you're really going to have them growing on accident. So when I'm trying to propagate something, I'm really trying to propagate it. Like I cut it at a certain angle, I could cut them at a certain time of year. I scratch the bottoms of it. You got to keep it moist. If it dries out at all, then the roots die and it's done. So now I am not going to be burying green material because I do want the material to be dry enough to break down more quickly. And so I like to take the leaves off. I put the leaves in. I put the sticks off to the side. If they're long enough, I'm going to use them as some kind of trellis or as some kind of support. And sometimes you will use them, for campfires and that kind of stuff. Nothing is going to go to waste. But I want to go ahead and use these. I have several containers I want to fill up, intermixing dry and green material and some soil, and that way I can transplant a few things on the property as well. So let's go ahead and snap these open, and we're going to go ahead and, I think it's so satisfying, ripping off the leaves and then chopping them into pieces. I'm like it's like I don't know, it's like a playground for me. Anyway, it's so satisfying. Let's go check this out. We got some work to do, and then I'm going to transplant something. The other day when I was transplanting the spruce, I wanted to also transplant that Korean pine I mentioned. The Korean pine doesn't look fabulous, but I'm going to go ahead and transplant that in this video. Okay, it's out of the package. Chop chop. Let's go. Let's see. was right next to me. So here's the Korean pine. I'm going to take the weeds out of the bucket, out of the pot. Do that before. I had to take a break because I had hummingbirds coming to beg for food. So I had to run inside really fast and make up some hummingbird nectar for them. And rush it out because they were zipping past me saying, please, where's the hummingbird food? Okay, that looks good. And there's some soil here already, but let's go ahead and add some more organic matter. And I'm going to put that on top of that. I'm surprised it's not really that root bound, which is good. This plant is going to be so happy after it gets completely filled in here. And remember, when you're planting trees, do not plant up the stem. Okay, I'm going to have to go hands-free for a second. All right, so dump that out. I might need a little bit more soil. I am getting so tired running front yard, backyard, front yard, backyard, front yard, backyard. There's got to be an easier way than this. I do want to make sure that this is not gonna, the tag won't make it girdled. I'm losing light, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit more soil into the pot. I don't need a lot more. Okay. And then let's get some water over here. Okay. Wow, you guys, I got a lot done, but it wasn't super effective. A lot of interruptions that you guys didn't see firsthand. Okay. Let's call it a night, y'all. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you click like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Live long and prosper. God bless you.